To the newspapers. Got a royal start for you today in the newspapers. In fact, Buckingham Palace embroiled in a racism row that is dominating the British dailies today. And Dipty's going to take us through it, Dipty.
That's right, Stuart. This racism row at Buckingham Palace involves Prince William's godmother, Lady Susan Hussey, a longtime aide of the royal family who actually quit in the wake of this scandal. It comes after she made racist remarks to a black British charity bus, Ngozi Fulani, who comments at the palace is called unacceptable. Now, Fulani actually tells The Independent today, gives us a bit more context about those comments. It took place during a reception at Buckingham Palace. She was representing her London-based charity for victims of domestic and sexual abuse. Now, she says that Lady Hussey moved her hair aside to see her name badge and then questioned her about where she came from and where her people came from and what part of Africa she's from, despite Fulani's insistence that she's British-born and British. It's dominating the front pages today. It's on the front page of The Guardian, which is choosing to go with this picture of Ngozi Fulani on its front page with that question here, where are you from, as its headline. Similar front page from the Daily Mail today, featuring both women on its front page. The meet and greet that sparked a royal disaster, the Daily Mail says, noting that this will no doubt also overshadow Prince William and Kate's current visit to the US, where they are at the moment. It's also, there's an interesting opinion piece in The Independent by the paper's royal writer who says that these comments were unsurprising. They reek of the royal family's supremacy and privilege that has allowed discriminatory practices like banning black workers, the hiring of black workers, at least until the 1960s. It, of course, also led to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle speaking out about the racism she too endured while she was in the UK.
Let's head to China for this next story. This is some reactions to the passing of former leader Jiang Zemin.
That's right. The former president, who passed away at the age of 96, came to power after the Tiananmen Square massacre in 1989. Here he is on the front page of the Global Times. That's the Chinese Communist Party's official newspaper, with a rather solemn picture there and a solemn headline as well. The nation mourns the passing of this former leader. Now, his passing does come at a difficult time for the current president, Xi Jinping, and that's the focus of this article from the New York Times today, which says that, of course, President Xi Jinping right now is facing a wave of discontent about COVID policies in China, and now he'll have to navigate the passing of Jiang as well, while trying to prevent Jiang from, quote, becoming a symbolic cudgel against Xi's politics.
One word for you now, and that word is Socceroos. If you're either Australian or you know about football, you'll know exactly what they are, the Socceroos. Australia have made it through into the next round of the World Cup, the knockout stage.
They did, against all odds, Stuart, an unbelievable 1-0 win against Denmark thanks to a goal by Matthew Leckie. It's given the Socceroos an improbable fate of making it into the knockoff round for the first time in 16 years. They'll be facing Argentina, though, so it's not going to be easy. The Roos and their coach, Graham Arnold, have become something or somewhat of heroes in Australia. That's what The Guardian tells us today, noting that there were cries of Waltzing Matilda and Men at Work during the match, obviously the unofficial anthems of Australia, and even calls for a public holiday. Anyway, you can have a look at some of these scenes. This is a great video of a man who was watching the match. Look how he lives that match, the stress, the intensity of that game. And these, of course, were scenes at Federation Square, also being shared on Twitter right now. That was shared on Twitter today. Federation Square is Melbourne's main square. These were the scenes at 4 a.m. So Australia, rather unusually, going soccer crazy.
Yeah, well done, Australia. It's the evening there
Thank
in
you.
Australia now, isn't it? So well done if you're Australian watching us. Now, the French baguette back home here in France, it's been enshrined, hasn't it? We talked about this yesterday, but it has officially happened now into UN cultural heritage.
That's right, and it is what the Washington Post calls baking news, Stuart. The baguette has been enshrined in the UN's cultural heritage list. The wonderful phallic-shaped bread full of yeasty goodness gets some cultural protection. It even prompted Emmanuel Macron, who's currently in the US on a diplomatic visit, to tweet paying tribute to 250 grams of magic and perfection that encapsulate a way of life. But I'll tell you something else that encapsulates a way of life: potatoes. And they were the focus of a new survey that turns out that potatoes are actually quite good for you, and and if you avoid them because you're worried about carb overloading, well, it's actually a good thing to eat potatoes because it fills you up and prevents you from snacking, which causes weight gain. So in honor of eating potatoes, the Times of London tells us today the best ways to cook potatoes, because apparently the French do it best, be it a gratin dauphinois, let's see if I can bring that up, the tasty goodness of potatoes and cheese. You also have the I guess, what do we call this? A potato fondue.
Yeah.
The French do that really well. The Times of London, in this article, showing us a myriad of ways that we can eat potatoes today.
Didn't spot any chips in there, though. Probably not so good for you. Let's continue our food-themed press review. Dipsy's going to end on a TikToker, a viral TikToker, gone viral for making vintage recipes.
Yeah, but not just any recipes to it. These are really wacky vintage recipes that he found in cookbooks dating back to the last century. So this guy has now amassed 9 million followers on his TikTok account, a mixture of those disgusted and intrigued by his culinary experiments. It's why you get things like pork cake here, velveta fudge, I'm not quite sure what that is. And anyway, he goes around making these unusual dishes. Some are innocent enough, like peanut butter cake, but some are a bit nasty, like frozen orange juice pie, pickled cheesecake, or Coca-Cola salad. Or this one on his TikTok, it's quite unbelievable. Potato chip, well, we were talking about potatoes a moment ago. Potato chip cookies. It's basically like chocolate chip cookies, but with crisps in them. Sounds pretty disgusting, but apparently it is a real recipe.
What is it? Chips in...
Yeah, potato chip cookies, like chocolate chip cookies, but with potatoes.
Absolutely lovely. That would certainly fill you up, wouldn't it? Anyway, Dipsy, she can make some for us tomorrow. Dipsy
No,
will
thanks.
roll over the potatoes on France 24.